What up, squad? What's poppin'? All right, man. Hopefully y'all is having a great 4th of July, man. Y'all is having your cookouts. Got y'all steaks. Y'all ain't going through the crazy rat race, you know what I'm saying? And just chilling. Hopefully wherever you at, man, it's nice, man. There's no rainy days, man. No rainy days. But we got Diddy. We got this discussion we got to get to, man. How many of y'all really thought that he was going to get off on this one? How many of y'all thought he was going to get off on this one, man? I need to know. Y'all got to put it in the comments, man. Hold on. Let me bring up my comment section real quick because I can't see nada. What that, Teresa? What that, girl? Yeah, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I really wasn't seeing this happening. I seen it, but I didn't see it. You know what I mean? But he still ain't out. He still is not out. He still is not out yet. He still is not out. You know what I mean? So, I'm going to play a couple clips real quick, you know what I mean? So we can like figure out what's going on. Y'all tell me what y'all thinking. Yo, what is going on with this craziness? People actually putting baby oil like they outside of the... Yo, y'all got to check out this clip. They outside of the courthouse drenching each other with baby oil. Where have we gone as a society, man? Everybody got, Astroglide, all of that, man. It's hot out there. It's hot out there. Y'all over there playing like it's like, freaky time, man. It's freaky time. And shout out to Bree. Bree out there doing her thing. She doing some, last minute get ups and stuff like that. So shout out to her. She couldn't be here right now. But hey, man, y'all know me. I'm ADHD. I just had to go live. Had to do it. All right, so check this out, man. Check this out. This is crazy right here. This is real crazy right here. I need to ask y'all, have y'all seen this video right here? This video circulating. This video crazy. This video's crazy. This is wild right here. Peep this video. This is nuts, man. Where have we got Yo, she barely dressed, man. She barely dressed. She thought because she came out with I swear to God, bro. Where Gargamel at when you need him, man? She out there with, the Smurf color hair, bro. She in some boxes, bro. Like, everybody getting freaky, man. What is going on here?
I don't know what she gonna do, y'all.
Tell me that ain't diabolical. Diddy would see some hefty prison time if the young artists such as Justin, Pressure, yeah, and Freaky Criminal, yeah. Hey, man. So you believe that? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that didn't come out. There's a lot of things. I'm not gonna lie though. So let's keep it 100. Do you think that the reason why for men to come out, especially in a situation like this, is more of a man type thing, like we don't want to admit that something like that happened to us because a lot of men, you know what I'm saying, they'll find that embarrassing and shameful. Do you think that that's the problem? Maybe because of the time era or the time period he grew up in. You know what I'm saying? It might be just the time period he grew up in because a lot of men, I know something like that, if it would have happened to me, I don't think I would be out there, you know what I mean? I don't think I would make that public. That's just me personally. Whether it's, male or female, I just wouldn't make that public. You know what I mean? Our society is sick mentally. Yeah. We been sick for a long time, Teresa. Been sick for a long time. Now, peep this, right? So what you think about this? So this is what they basically saying right now. Right here.
And after nearly a 2-month trial with 34 witnesses and hours of salacious testimony, a jury of 8 men and 4 women finds Sean Diddy Combs not guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking, but guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. The judge is currently deciding right now whether Combs will actually be released today. His defense.
Y'all think he's getting out today? I don't see him getting out, man. I see them like in a conundrum here because I don't see them letting him out today. Seriously, I don't see them letting him out today. I think his best case scenario is he's gonna get, like, if they hit him with the maximum, I think he still might see some time. I believe he might see some time. What do y'all think? Do y'all think he's gonna end up getting out today? I don't see that happening. I really don't. I don't think anybody's seen this coming. Pause. I just think that what's going on right now, they trying to figure out, like, yo, how we gonna weigh this? And do you think that they might try him again? You think they might go after him again? I mean, that could be that they can definitely come with the civil suits, you know what I mean? And that could hurt them right there.
And arguing that since the music mogul was acquitted of the most serious crimes, he should be able to go home. Once court was adjourned, family members cheered today's verdict. Combs' son, Christian, telling ABC News how happy he is.
Hey, yo, we love y'all. We love everybody watching. So happy. Pop's coming home. God bless. God bless the whole world.
What was going through your head when the verdict was read? Happy.
Joining me now, Irina Roy, just outside court, legal contributor Bernardo Villalona, and also senior entertainment reporter Kelly Carter. All right, Rena, do we have any update on whether the judge will decide to release Combs at this hour?
Kira, no decision quite yet from the judge. Just a couple of minutes ago, though, I can tell you we saw the Combs family van pull up to court once again.
B. Foster, that's what you seen? Do you know this for a fact? They denied him? Put it in the comments if they denied him, man. Put it in the comments if they denied him. Because everything is happening so fast. And you know everybody want to get home to that holiday, man. And nobody want to be there. Up to 20 years, no minimum. What? Yo, for real? They're going to hit him with 20? On what charge? What charge they hitting him with 20 with? I thought it was maximum 10. Civil but no criminal, that would be double yeah, okay. Yeah, you know what's crazy though? I feel the same thing. That would be double jeopardy, right? I feel like it would be double jeopardy, but you know what? They hit him with that civil. Like, look at this. All right, so I'll come right back to it. What you just said, you got a good point. But look what Vlad just dropped, right? Vlad just dropped this right here. Did he? Hold on. So did he hit? Vlad dropped this right here. Maybe new charges. All right, so Vlad dropped this right here. You got a good point, though. So listen to this, right? The Honorable Aaron, I can't even pronounce names, man, so I ain't even going to hack up that name. United States Judge, Southern District of New York, 500. All right, so this is Vlad's take on this, right? So this is what Vlad put. Look what he put on the thing. He said, Cassie got 20 M's out of Diddy. Got him locked up for 9 months, publicly embarrassed him for the rest of his life, made him lose hundreds of millions in business deals. He's still potentially facing years in prison, and she goes and writes a letter asking the judge not to grant him bond until his sentencing. Do you guys think that they have an influence on this? You think that this letter right here has an influence on what's going on? Rewrite as a counsel for Cassandra Ventura, Mrs. Ventura, to respectfully request that the court deny Mr. Combs to be released pending his sentencing on his 2 convictions under 18 U.S.C. -2421, pursuant the Bail Reform Act. All right, detention is mandatory post-conviction on these charges, as Ms. Ventura believes that Mr. Combs is likely to pose a danger to the victims who testified in this case, including herself, as well as the community. Now, that's kind of an interesting way of looking at things, because I feel like if that was the case, this is my opinion only, why not just go for criminal charges right off rip? Like, why do a civil case? Why not do all of that after? If you're really fearing for yourself. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, she has a lot to fear because of the fact that he was violent, man. He was violent with her. But her testimony, how many of you guys think that her testimony kind of opened a Pandora's box of a lot of things that just made the jury just say, what the hell is really going on here? What is going on here? Everything is just seeming like it's crazy, bro. It seems like Y'all got y'all circumstances, you got your circumstances, but things just ain't adding up. Do you think that a lot of her testimony made the jury scratch their heads? You know what I'm saying? Do you think that her testimony was lackluster, like she wasn't able to advocate for herself when she got on that stand? There was a lot of I miss you, Diddy type moments. Let me see what you got. I think Cassie should have to return all the money. All right. So you think she has to return all the money, Tone? That's what you think? If they take her advice on anything, let my ass off, you can take a deal like that, then go off track. Yeah, all right, got you. Yo, that's how you feel? What up, Noah? That's how you really feel? You feel like she should have got that money and that was it? Or you think that she deserved justice? Do you think that justice was served? Anybody disagree with the ruling? Who disagreed with the ruling? I think about all the craps. Hold on, let me see. I'm going to put you up here. All right. Think about all the crap she went through for 10 years. All right. There's some good points here. Now, do y'all think that she should have just got the money? You don't think the money was enough? You think that he still deserves time? And do you think that, this was all for monetary gain? Or do you think that it was like one of them things where do you think that she would have testified, or do you think she was forced to testify? I feel like once they seen a lot of the information she had and other people coming forward, I think that made the feds get in. But it almost seems like he beat the feds. I mean, I need to know because it seems like he wasn't found guilty on everything. He wasn't found guilty on all charges. It says right here, these are the charges he was found guilty for. Right here.
Presumably to hear this decision on whether or not Combs will be released. The deadline that the judge gave both the prosecution and the defense just passed a couple of minutes ago. They were set to turn in their letters at 1 p.m. So for the last couple of hours, they've been working on their cases, both sides, for and against his release. The defense wants to see Combs walk out of those golden doors here behind us. They say that because he was acquitted of the more serious charges here, that he should go home and be with his family. The prosecutors.
How many of y'all agree? Should he go home if he was acquitted? Of the serious charges?
Have argued that he's a flight risk, and they say that he is still facing up to 20 years in prison.
Okay, I see it. Yo, B is for butter. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. They're saying he's facing up to 20 right
on these lesser charges. They are arguing he should be held until his sentencing, Kira.
So, Bernarda, if Combs does stay in custody, how much jail time do you expect he would actually serve?
So in terms of if the judge does decide that Sean Combs remains in custody pending sentencing, the judge will ultimately determine what his sentence is. You have to think that the sentencing is not going to take place in another week or two. We're talking about months from now that the sentence will take place. And in terms...
Oh, damn. So it might be months before he gets to get out. It might be months, but they might be able to set bail. They might be able to set bond until then. Who knows?
Of all the time that he's already been in custody, he's going to get credit for that time. So no matter what amount of sentence the judge sentences him to, he'll get credit for about the 9 months that he has been in custody. Yes, he faces a maximum of 10 years on each of those counts. Highly unlikely that this judge is going to max Sean Combs.
Hold on. How does this make any sense? Look what this says. It says he was found guilty of 2 counts out of 5. But right here, it only says guilty for, So he was found guilty, transportation and engagement. All right, so, hey, if that's all they got him for, they basically getting him for like he's a John type shit. That's all they got him for. There wasn't really enough to get him for the more serious charges. Now, if that's all they got him for, he might not see those 20 years unless the judge really want to go crazy. But I don't see that happening because that's like a John charge. You know what I'm saying? That's not really nothing crazy. Now, the allegations are crazy, but he was found not guilty on the more serious charges. You know what I mean? The way the law works, I don't know if he's going to get them 20 years, gang. I really don't. I don't know if he's going to get them 20 years. I don't see him getting that 20 years. I don't see them doing that. I really don't. He might just get time served. He might just get time served. To be honest with you, he might just get time served.
Highly unlikely that this judge is going to max Sean Combs out. He can give him probation, he could give him time served, or give him something more of a year, 2 years, or even 3 years on each of these counts.
And I think what he's going to get, to be honest with you, yo, I'm no stranger to the legal system, but because of the fact that he, you know what I'm saying, was able to finesse it the way he did, and juries were deadlocked, you know what I'm saying, jurors were deadlocked, they just didn't find enough evidence or were beyond a reasonable doubt. Or do you think so? Yo, you know what? As a matter of fact, here's a question I got. Do you think that some of these jurors were compromised? Do you think that some of these jurors were compromised? That they actually fans? I don't believe that, but that's a question that's floating around the internet. That some of these guys is compromised. But I think, after watching and seeing a little bit of the trial, I'm like, wait a minute, man. This is just taking a turn for the worse as far as, you know what I'm saying, the prosecution goes. Because I really feel like they didn't make their case well enough. And remember, this is a federal case. This is a federal case. The feds are undefeated. I think he might get time served with some probation. I think they're going to give him time served with the rest of the time to serve on probation. What do y'all think? Question, do you think, hold on, I'm going to put you up real quick. Question, do you think the fact that the jury was a majority of men impacted the verdict? Possibility. That's a good question. How many of y'all out there think that? The jury was majority male, and that's what turned this, you know what I mean? Do you guys think that the jury was biased? Do y'all think the jury was biased? Because I'm not going to lie, me, when I first heard this, the allegation, the Cassie allegations, now I seen the, undisputable evidence that he definitely, you know what I'm saying, she was a victim of domestic violence. But I was weary because of the fact that she didn't go and press charges to convict him as a criminal. She went for the bag. And I always have to reserve my, me just rushing to judgment when stuff like that, because it makes me, take a step back. Like, wait a minute. Ain't you worried about other people? If you've been through this, don't you want to get this guy put behind bars? If you've been going through all of these traumatic experiences, I would think the first thing you would want to do is make other people safe so this doesn't happen to nobody else. But you going after the bag makes me take a step back and say you could go after that after. You could go after his estate after. I don't feel like she was trying to push him into this. I think that she was pushed into this by the feds after all of the allegations that were out there, and it just became like, yo, all right, there's just too many people out here claiming there was a lot of things going on behind the scenes. And it's hard not to be biased. I really thought that the jury was going to be biased on the end of finding him guilty just because of all of the allegations that were out there, so many people coming forward, and you're able to see this on the internet. You know what I mean? But yes, I do think that could have played a part, but I also think they could have been tainted. Yes. Okay. So Breakdown Bree in the building. Everybody, yo, thumbs up for Breakdown Bree. She in the building right here. Bree in the building. So you think that they were tainted? Bree thinks they were tainted. I think he'll get 10 years and serve less for good behavior. All right, yo, hey, that's a good assessment. I really believe that he's probably not going to serve much more time in there. I don't. Shout out Brazil. Brazil in the building. Shout out to Brazil. Let's get through the rest of this. I want to see what they're saying.
So, Kelly, how does this verdict impact Combs' legacy as an entertainer, as a music mogul moving forward, you think?
I think it does impact his legacy because we have to talk about this in addition to talking about his 3 decades as being a pop culture icon. This is a human who has touched every facet of...
Bro, that's diabolical. Look at this. Look at this. When she was I'm not going to lie. This right here, I felt was going to make the jurors biased because seeing that, it's hard not to feel something as a human being. It's hard not to feel something for somebody. Seeing them get, you know what I'm saying? Just like, yo, the way he put hands and feet on her is like, whoa, whoa. So that's why I thought that they was going to catch him, was with this video right here. The footage of her going to the elevator, I thought that that was going to be the nail in the coffin. I really did. I really didn't think he was going to find an unbiased jury because of that, because they put all this footage out there.
Of business, of industry, you know, politics, film, TV, music, Broadway, spirits, fashion, you know, but we also now have to talk about this case and the role that that plays and that legacy. And I think it's significant because unfortunately people are going to be able to unhear some of that testimony that they read, and they're most certainly going to be able to unsee that video footage from that 2016 Intercontinental.
Yo, that's where you know motherfuckers got weird, bro. Look at the way he dressed and everything. This is one thing I can tell you, bro. If you see a rapper or anybody that's, you know what I'm saying, high up there in the celebrity field, and you never see them talk about God or anything like that, and they start talking about God a lot, bro, I feel like, yeah, some people do change, but I feel like when you see them constantly do that when they at awards and stuff, it's like, bro, what are you hiding? Why do you keep bringing this up? You know what I mean? But hey, I'm just making speculations. It's just like when I just see people do that a lot, it's like, to me, it's like, bro, are you hiding something?
Incident between him and Cassie Ventura, and I think that that's going to be part of the conversation moving forward.
And Rena, has there been any reaction from prosecutors or witnesses so far on the verdict?
Was diabolical, bro. This footage.
Yeah, well, Kira, prosecutors say that they are going to fight for substantial prison time for Sean Combs. It remains to be seen what that looks like, but they did release a statement earlier today thanking the alleged victims in this case for coming forward, saying it's not easy to share those harrowing stories. And we know that the prosecution's star witness was Cassie Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend. Her attorney spoke outside of court shortly after the verdict, and he says that he's proud of her courage. He says that she is in a good place and she's happy with this outcome. Take a listen.
The reaction is that we're pleased that he's finally been held responsible for 2 federal crimes, something that he's never faced in his life. He still faces substantial jail time. Of course, we would have liked to have seen a conviction on the sex crimes in RICO, but we understand beyond a reasonable doubt is a high standard, and we're just pleased that that he still faces substantial jail time.
And he also credits her for paving the way for other alleged victims to come forward. Remember, Combs is still facing more than 6 civil lawsuits, so his legal troubles are far from over here.
Yo, how many of y'all think that's gonna hurt him? Do you guys think that if he gets out, just suppose they give him, you know, whatever, time served and he gets out, do you think, any of you guys in the chat, do you guys think that y'all still listen to his music, buy any of, you know what I'm saying, anything he has any affiliations with? Do you think this is going to mess up his brand? I think it's going to stain his brand. I truly think so. I think he would definitely have to do shell companies or do something under business ventures where his name ain't attached. I don't see him recouping from this, man. Not financially, at least, bro, because there's so many people that are going to come out. So too many people are going to come out, and I don't see him recouping from that, man. I really don't see him recouping from that. It's crazy. Some people like rapper Shabuzi think he should get off. Yeah, there's definitely people say that. Some will ignore his behavior. Definitely some will ignore it. For the people that think that he's not guilty, will ignore it. I still don't know what to think. I mean, if he's found not guilty, he's found not guilty.
Yeah, and we'll be following him as well, of course. Bernarda, what impact do you think this verdict will have now on future cases similar to Combs?
So in terms of what impact this verdict will have on future cases, I think the prosecution has to rethink how it applies racketeering conspiracy, because first off, when racketeering RICO came out, it was more for mob bosses or gang activity to try to get an enterprise, hold them accountable and not let individuals get off simply because they're not being taken into account with co-conspirators or using their businesses in order to uplift their enterprise, their criminal enterprise. But I think the prosecution is definitely going to take another look of how it's being applied, racketeering conspiracy.
All right, Rena.
Yo, do you think, all right, so let me ask y'all this. Do y'all think that maybe the fact that they try to hit him with so many so many counts, and do you think that they just try to go overboard, and that's what ended up getting him these not guilty verdicts? I mean, because to be honest with you, at this point he's winning. At this point he's winning. What do you think they actually should have tried to go after? I think they definitely should have went after the you know what I'm saying, the violent aspect of it. But do you think that they overstepped with the trafficking? You know what I mean? Does flying women out constitute that? You know what I mean? Because if we say that, then we can honestly say that for a lot of people, you know, especially in the adult industry. You know what I mean? But when you get all this extra involved, it makes one wonder, you know what I mean? Like, did they overstep when they did that? Maybe that might have hurt their case a little bit. It might have looked like they just overreacted a little bit on certain counts. Like, I think everything that they could have proved, that's what they should have hit them with. I think the other stuff was, how do you prove that? You know what I mean? How do you really, really prove that unless you, I mean, because they obviously couldn't prove it. They didn't have substantial evidence in order to prove it. So I'm wondering, do you think that they overstepped with these extra charges? You know what I mean? And especially with the RICO. The RICO, did they go too far with the RICO? I think they could have got him on other things, but I just feel like, you know, they just went too far with what they was actually trying to put on him. I mean, that's my opinion. Brand deals, everything falling. Definitely. He may think he's winning, but he is losing. Well, if he does get off with time served, then that's definitely a W for him. Because, I mean, think about it, man. He was supposed to be under the jail. He was supposed to be under the jail. You know? So it makes you wonder, did they go too far? Did they go too far with what they was actually trying to charge him with? Were they doing this to set an example, to set a precedent? I don't know. You know what I mean? I want to know what y'all think. But I personally think that, you know, I think some of these charges were like, you know, it's like, bro, you guys really don't have enough evidence. And that's exactly why he was found not guilty. Because remember, the feds got like a 90-something%, you know what I'm saying? I think it's over 98% conviction rate. And the fact that they fell short here, it's kind of like, yo, he's winning. He's not guilty on 5 counts. Not guilty. Not guilty on 5 counts. You know what I mean? He's not guilty on 5 counts. Let me see. There was another one here that, let me see. Verdict. Boom, 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 boom. Yo, you can obviously tell he ain't changed up. Why your boy sniffing the fart out the seats, though? Like, what's up with this? This is diabolical, bro. He's sniffing the fart out the seats, bro. Let me see what they got to say on this. This is crazy. This is crazy right here. Look at this. This is diabolical, man. There's definitely going to be a lot of memes. I'm going to tell you that, man. Am I the only one confused? I read that he was facing up to 20 years. Yeah, the same thing with me, bro. And you got these people acting a fool outside of this courthouse, bro. It's crazy. This is crazy. I'm not going to lie, man. This is like bugged out to me. This is bugged out to me, but hey, hold on one second. So, yo, Bruce Rivers, he's a criminal lawyer. I usually like his takes. Watch what he got to say about this. Bruce Rivers, this guy right here, he usually got some good takes. He's usually really good at this. He's a lawyer, and he's got a channel. Go check him out.
Was weak. It wasn't a strong case. It was a strong case in the media and all the pundits who wanted to say he's a woman beater. That doesn't equal a RICO charge.
This verdict really just goes to show how much women are really truly not believed.
If numbers don't lie, it was 36-0. 36-0.
Some even went as far as suggesting you must have been on the Diddy payroll. Would you like to clear that up?
I am not on the Diddy payroll. This was just my honest experience.
When you run with certain people and you know what they could be capable of, then you know you might be in clear and present danger.
The legal system, they want to get their hunk. They can't walk away. They're already disgraced. They don't want to walk away totally disgraced.
After several weeks of revelations and a case that's shaken the showbiz world, Sean Diddy Combs has been found not guilty of racketeering and not guilty of sex trafficking his ex-partner Cassie Ventura, another woman referred to only as Jane. The jury did find him guilty on 2 counts, both of transportation to engage in prostitution, related to those same 2.
Yo, how many of you guys think if Jane actually went in there, you know what I'm saying, and she wasn't a confidential witness, do you think that it would have painted a better picture? Because I truly believe, like, you know, a lot of things that was going on with, you know, Cassie's side of it, I think it just muddied the waters. And the reason why is because it's like, it kind of almost shows where I just believe it muddied the waters a little bit. I think if they had more people in there, that you would have got a clearer picture. But I just think it just made a lot of things just confusing, to be honest with you. I really do. I think like where her testimony, it confused a lot of things just where her solo testimony. Because then you got other people saying different.
Women. Well, the verdicts have come as much of a bombshell as the case itself. We have an all-star panel of opinionated insiders and legal experts to explain what it all means and what happens next. In a moment, I'll talk to Young Jock and Sammy the Bull, and I'll talk to the Punisher, whose evidence appears to have been pivotal in this trial. But we begin with our legal panelists. Bruce Rivers, the criminal defense attorney who's covered the Diddy trial fastidiously on his popular YouTube channel. Suge Knight's former attorney, Matthew Fletcher, who's repeatedly questioned the strength of the prosecution's case. And Ariel Mitchell-Kidd, a lawyer who's represented other women who claim to have been Diddy's victims. So welcome to all of you.
Yo, how many men in the chat think he was guilty, and how many women think he was guilty, and how many men in the chat think he was not guilty, and how many women? You know what? I should have put a poll like that, because I want to see if my boy B is for Butter got a good point that maybe it was because it was mostly a male jury. I want to see where you guys' heads are at on that, because I don't know if that changed anything, because I know that there's guys that, you know what I'm saying, you know, hey, they grew up in a single family household, and they, you know what I mean, they hold women to the highest regard, and that come from a, you know what I'm saying, a two-family household, and they hold women to a high regard, and they believe when a woman says something happened, it happened. You know what I'm saying? But how many of y'all in the chat that are men believe he's guilty, not guilty? Just let me know. Let me know if you guys think that was a turning factor, or do you think that it was the evidence alone, man? I mean, I personally believe I was going by what they were, you know, the way they were arguing their case. I just don't feel like the prosecution had a solid like home run case, because the evidence just, I don't think it was substantial, bro. I just really don't.
Matthew Fletcher, let me start with you, because you've been very clear with me in the many times you've appeared on Uncensored during this case that you believed they were not going to get convictions on the more serious charges. And what is fascinating about that, A, that you've been proven right, of course, but also that in the Southern District of New York, the success rate for federal prosecutors is 93%. You know, they hardly ever fail.
Look at that, 93%, y'all. 93%. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. B is for I apologize. I thought I knew you from a last live. I apologize. There's no picture there, so I apologize. I didn't mean to call you out your womanhood. My bad. I thought, yeah. But anyways, yeah. Let me know. Let me know. So basically, I see where you stand. I already got your answer, so thanks for your answer. My bad. I feel like a dumbass right now. Thanks for putting me on blast. I feel like a dumbass, but it's all good. It was an honest mistake. My apologies.
So just why do you think here, I mean, it's being billed as Diddy beats the feds. Obviously, he's not completely beaten them, but he's only been found guilty of the least serious charges. Why do you think that has happened?
Because the evidence was weak. I've said from the very beginning, I've got over 100 jury trials. I did this for 23 years. All I do is trial consulting now. I can spot a bad case a mile away. And the first witness in this case, from the first witness in this case on, this was always about the government saying he's a bad person, which he is. He's a horrible, rotten woman beater. And as I told you last time, Agnifilo is going to get up there and say, convict him of every single count of domestic violence. But there aren't any counts of domestic violence.
Whoa. Did he say this now? Hold on.
rotten woman beater. And as I told you last time, Agnafila is going to get up there and say, convict him of every single count of domestic violence. But there aren't any counts of domestic violence. He did that. I told you before that they were going to sit there and say that these women enjoyed this. There was no coercion. There was no duress. And to show that one video of what happened years ago, that's what they built their entire case on. And
I believe that too. I believed, but like I said, I also thought that video was damning, and I thought that that video was going to be the nail in the coffin, because I don't think anybody could look at that video and that not pull on your heartstrings and make you feel a way. Even if he wasn't guilty of anything except for that, it still would make, I think it would make a bias. I think it would put a bias in your head where, like, this dude is evil, bro. Like, the way he manhandled her and did all of that, bro, that shit was just dead wrong. Like, that was wrong. That was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was just definitely wrong.
And it's horrible, but he wasn't charged with that. Racketeering, RICO is meant for particular vices, and those vices don't include shipping in prostitutes, and unfortunately, they don't also include beating your wife or your girlfriend. That's what he was. He's a wife beater or girlfriend beater. He was never should have been charged with.
And the freak! W's in the chat if you think Diddy's a freak. He definitely some type of freaky, man. He on some other freaky type stuff, man. Diddy definitely on some freaky. If he's guilty of anything, I could definitely say he guilty of being a big, nasty boy, bro. He nasty. He nasty, capable of worse things. Oh, I mean, come on, man. Y'all already know, man. Y'all already know, like, you know, what people think, man. They think, you know, they think he's involved in Tupac and Biggie. So, yeah, I mean, that, you know, that's the assumption. That is the assumption, you know what I mean? But I think he definitely, you know what I'm saying? He definitely a freak. He definitely a freak. He's a diabolical weirdo. But, I mean, you really can't be charged for being a diabolical weirdo.
This never close. All the people who were wringing their hands and saying, oh, well, they must have convicted him in four counts. It's not even true. They never believed the word Cassie said. They never believed the word Jane said. That jury wasn't even out. 1 hour of deliberations, they came and said, Judge, we need to throw juror 25 off because he's not deliberating. That told you there was already a group of people together who were willing to go in one direction or the other. That jury deliberated 3 hours, essentially, before they had conviction or had verdicts, which a fast verdict like that, in my experience, tells me that's clearly a defense verdict. Clearly. They came back today and it was over. It wasn't a strong case. It was a strong case in the media and all the pundits who wanted to say he's a woman beater, which he is. That doesn't equal a RICO charge.
No.
So if you guys really think about it, man, if they got him just on the domestic alone and that's all he's being charged for, like I said, bro, I'm telling you, I don't see him getting more than time served. If that's all they got him with and that's what sticks and that's all they got, I don't see how he gets more than time served. Now, most of the time you don't got that on 4K, you know what I mean? Like, they got it on 4K. And it is an old video. It is an old video. So, I don't know. I'm telling you, I think he's going to get time served, and the remainder of his time is going to be probation. I think the most he's going to spend is a year or less after this. Because I just don't see where they make the argument to why he has to stay 20 years. I don't see it. But let me see what Bruce says. I don't know, because Bruce usually got good takes. I don't know. Bruce Willis.
Well, you've been very consistent on that. I mean, given the convictions he's now received, what is his likely sentence? I mean, each count, I think, is a maximum of...
Got to give him 2 years.
All right, so there you go. If they give him 2 years, that means he's seeing the 1 year and then the time served, which would be 9 months, which you figure will be probably like 13, 14 months altogether is all he's going to spend in there.
It's a maximum of 10 years on each count. So what do you think he'll get?
Yeah, but the feds are different. First of all, he's convicted of procuring a prostitute. If we're going to start throwing music moguls and billionaires in prison for procuring prostitutes, we're going to need to expand the prisons. We're going to have to get, alligator Alcatraz fired up.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't just say we got to get alligator Alcatraz. Yo, you know what Diddy would do with an alligator Alcatraz? He'll come up with some freaky, yo, there'll be some alligators dressed in some weird shit, bro. You don't want to put Diddy near no animals, bro, because we really don't know about that, bro. Y'all don't want no alligator Alcatraz, man. He'll come out with some alligator boots, bro. I'm being dead serious. All right, man. You got to get out of here with this. I don't know what that is, man. You got to get out of here with that. Should have been not guilty on all charges if facts. All right, yo, you got a great point here. Here's a good point. You do got a good point here, because there's, like I said, if he just guilty of being a John, you got a good point. That's a good point. I can't be mad at that point. Especially, think about it, they were both committing crimes. I did say that. I did have that same view, is if one is guilty, then the other one should be guilty because they both committed crimes. But now, as far as, you know what I'm saying, the abuse of his girlfriend, I mean, he definitely deserves to go down for that because we see it in 4K. But that's the only thing I see beyond a reasonable doubt of what they actually had proof for. That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
But, you know, under the guidelines, he has no criminal records, basically. So he should get the minimum sentence, which is 2 years, and they could screw him over and run him bow-legged and do them consecutively. There's no reason for them to do that. I expect at 1 o'clock the judge is going to give him bail. Yo, I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, there's very few people in federal prison right now for these charges, so I would be surprised.
Yo, I definitely do believe that this verdict is split between male and female. I feel like a lot of men feel a certain way, and I feel like a lot of females feel a certain way. But at the end of the day, the result is the result. And I just don't think they had enough, bro. I feel like exactly what he's saying, that they, you know, the smoking gun was really that video. And like I said, I thought that was going to put him away. But I don't know, man. Is justice served? Was justice really served? Do you think that Cassie's testimony hurt the prosecution versus helped the prosecution? I really think it hurt it, man. I really think Cassie, because her involvement in a lot of things, coercion or not, there just wasn't enough proof. I think they should have got more people in there that been through it.
If he didn't get bail, and he should get the minimum, because that's what they're not going to look at. Beat up Cassie. That's not relevant.
No, it's irrelevant. But let me ask you this, on a technical point. Can the time that he served in prison then be removed? Say he gets 2 years to run concurrently on both counts. So he serves 2 years. Would they remove time served, or is that irrelevant?
Hold up. Elite Leo and B's for Butter. Yo, Elite Leo, if you're a male and B is for Butter is a female, y'all want to come up here? I'll drop a link I want to see what y'all's opinion. If y'all want to come up here, let me know. Say all right, and I'll bring y'all up here and I'll see what y'all got to say and discuss. Because this will be good to get a male and a female in here that has opposing views and hear y'all talk it out. I want to see what y'all got to say. And y'all, you don't have to show your face. You could do it where it'll just show your avatar. You don't have to show your face. We'll just hear your voice. But I could drop the link in the thing, and it'll just be just them two. I just want you two. Anybody else that calls in, I'll wait after. But I want to see Elite Leo, your perspective, and then we'll see B is for Butter. All right, let's keep going. Let me know. Put it in the comments. I want to see if y'all is ready for that.
The judge can do whatever the judge wants to, but he gets his credit. In feds, it's day for day, so he gets $1 for every dollar he put in. So he's 7 months into this already. So if they run him concurrently, he's looking at, you know, probably a 20-month guideline, and you knock off 7, and, you know, there's a very real chance that he's not ever going to.
I mean, nah, Elite, you better stop it. You better stop it. Why are you trying to stir up? Yo, you see what I got to deal with? You see what I got to deal with? Why are you stirring it up, man? Now I feel like I'm on trial, babe. Now I feel like I'm on trial. Bree in the comments over here trying to like, yo, You trying to get everybody mad at me, man? I'll put you up here. I'll bring you up here right now.
See a federal prison. That's if it doesn't get, if the president doesn't do something with it, because this is the kind of thing that you can see someone granting a pardon on. I mean, it's the White Slave Trade Act. That's real difficult.
Oh, they did. See, without you, sweetie, I can't run this live because I got to keep looking over to the other screens. I'm sorry, my bad. Again, okay, well, that'll be good to have two females up here that have difference of opinion. Actually, that'll be dope. Hey, put it in the comments. My bad if I misgendered you. I apologize.
Difficult to sentence somebody on the White Slave Trade Act in 2025, just from, you know, a practical standpoint.
Okay.
The government failed miserably.
Yeah, well, they clearly have. Ariel Mitchell-Kidd, you represent a number of women in civil cases against Sean Combs. What is your reaction to this verdict?
Oh, okay.
Well, I think it's important that we discuss the lack of diversity that was on the prosecution.
All right, Elite Leo, my bad. I apologize. My chat is in a different screen, so I have to keep looking over there. So I probably missed it. Usually, if it's a super chat, I'll know when you super chat because it makes a little sound. But otherwise, every time you guys make a, you know, when you guys put a comment, I really don't see it. It's not on this screen. I'm looking at multiple screens here, so I might have missed it. I apologize. I'm going to get canceled. My bad. All right, but Elite Leo is a female, and she believes, yo, see, why you stirring it up, man? You and Brittany. I'm a woman, and I believe he should have been found not guilty on all counts. Okay, so we got a mixed up crowd here where, yo, one female feels should have been found not guilty. Other female feels like should have been found guilty. Y'all put it in the comments what y'all feel. Now we got a female that's about to talk. I want to see what her perspective is.
Team. That was probably my most concern when I faced them when I had a hearing for a motion to quash during the grand jury testimony. I was very concerned when I was looking across from me at 6 white women and them not being able to grasp just exactly.
Here we go. Okay, so, bro, there's always, see, that's the problem, bro. There's always something that somebody leans on. There's always something that somebody leans on. Let me bring that back again.
For a motion to quash during the grand jury testimony, I was very concerned when I was looking across from me at 6 white women and them not being able to grasp just exactly how to convey what has occurred to a jury and being able to relate these things to a jury. Of course,
I really don't feel like race would have in a situation like this, I don't feel like race would play a part. I mean, it could. It could. I mean, nothing's out of the spectrum, but I just feel like race wouldn't play a part when it comes to something like this. You know what I mean? I don't feel like race would play a part because I feel like a lot of women do stick together. But then you got to remember, women can also smell other women's bullshit too. So there's women that are going to be skeptical as well. Because like I said, I don't feel like Cassie was a great advocate for the defense. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I just feel like I feel like her testimony was more damaging than anything. I don't feel like it paint that clear contrast of what you can, you know what I'm saying, of exactly what was going on. I don't think it painted that perfect picture to convict.
My clients are very shocked at all of this. I am shocked. I'm actually very shocked at how they were able to reach the transportation aspect, but not the other 2 charges, because one kind of flows with the other.
Well, they don't though, really, do they? Because the transportation is that you're transporting people illegally across state lines for the purpose of prostitution. But that doesn't mean there's any coercion. And in fact, they have rejected all the charges, which would then lead on to a coercive situation. No sex trafficking.
You can't cut me off and let me not finish my statement.
Sure.
So in reference to first of all, the bar they have to meet. It's a very, very high bar in criminal court. It is beyond a reasonable doubt. So, of course, it's clear that he did these things, transporting people for prostitution, the prostitutes, like you just said, the Punisher, who you'll have later, and other men who have said they were transported, as well as the women who said, the Jane Does who said they were also transported for this reason. However, when we talk about the coercion, I thought the elements were met. If you are asking me where I think the prosecution fell short, was I think taking 6 weeks to put on their case was a mistake. It was overkill. I think had they shortened and streamlined their case, maybe in a 3-4 week at max point, they would have been successful.
And when you say the prosecution team wasn't diverse enough, what exactly do you mean? What are you saying?
There were 6 white women. So there was not any other voice other than a white woman's voice being heard.
I don't know, Chad. I don't feel like that played a part in this, man. I don't feel like that played a part. I don't get what she's trying to get at, but we are all individuals and different opinions. Yeah, yeah, facto. I don't feel like that played a part. I don't feel like that played a part in this, because I think this is one of them cases where I just feel like, it was what it was, And if that's the argument, then you would think because he would be, the opposite, that's what they would use against him. So I don't get it. I don't get where she's really coming from.
There was not a man's voice, a man's perspective of any race, let alone any other race, especially a black voice, considering.
Yo, look at Bruce. Look at Bruce Rivers' face. Like, what are you talking about?
Just how, I don't even know what the word impactful is, not even a good enough word to describe Diddy's, I want to say impact, but that, again, that's not even a good enough word. His chokehold, I'll call it, on the black community. So when I look at, like, for example, R. Kelly, who, in my opinion, didn't do half as much or a quarter as much as Diddy did, for him to be in jail for 25 years and Diddy to essentially be getting possibly 10 to 20 years, 10 years max on each count, I don't understand it.
Tax day has passed, but for millions of Americans, that's that when R. Kelly went down, we were still in the kind of full flow of the Me Too movement, the Time's Up campaign. There was a kind of, real zealous desire to put bad men away for long periods of time, Harvey Weinstein and others. And that the mood has changed somewhat now, and that people listen to the evidence, particularly with Cassie Ventura, where she settled with Diddy for, a lot of money, many millions of dollars, had her rent paid. Then she, in all the text messages that were leaked, carried on sending him very loving text messages, talking openly about wanting to do the freak-offs.
And I think that's what muddied the waters right there, was that text message. Now, don't get me wrong. You could be a willing participant and change your mind. Everybody has a right to change their mind. But I feel like that's what ended up showing, because I've said this a million times, that Cassie, I don't feel like is being completely transparent. And I feel like we're going to find out that she was more of a willing participate in certain areas that we didn't expect. That's what I just felt. Because like I said, it always puts me off when somebody is filing charges and they're only filing it for monetary gain, versus if the person's a monster, you don't want to see them out. You just worried about your safety, and you want to get them put away. You just want to feel safe. And the fact that, that muddied the waters. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, you can always change your mind. You can definitely always change your mind. You could be willing to do something weird, and then after that, you're like, nah, I'm not down with this no more. Everybody has a right to change your mind. You know what I'm saying? Just because you was willing today don't mean tomorrow that you have to do it. So, but I do feel like that was damning on the prosecution. I feel like that part right there is what kind of made people scratch their heads.
Punisher, who I'm going to interview again a little later in the show.
I want to see the
when I interviewed him, he was very persuasive that everything that he was involved in was not only consensual, but Cassie was the one driving it all. She was the.
You see that? And that was another thing. So that was one of the male escorts that was there, admitting that she was the one driving it. it seemed like Cassie was the one that was pursuing some of these deviancies. So I don't know, man. Let me read some of y'all comments. Sorry, Ariel Mitchell is part of the problem. She had a hand in running the alleged victim. Thank you. See, that puts a lot in perspective. That puts a lot in perspective right there. Appreciate you. Yeah, that's what got me mad. Just seemed more money. Seemed like there was it seemed like the whole purpose of everything was more about monetary gain versus, actually trying to get justice. And it always makes me take a step back when I see motives, those type of motives when it's about money. You know what I'm saying? Also, Cassie talking about she's scared BS, hadn't done anything to her, not even after that lawsuit filing. Yeah. Yo, you got a lot of good points.
The one paying him. She was the one organizing everything. Diddy just sat in the corner watching them.
But let's be for real. Cassie didn't have her own money. So if that was the case, why did her parents need to take out a loan to pay Diddy for that $20,000?
But my question is
so
whether
it's not.
Listen, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying.
And this was her thing to
Okay,
do.
but Ariel, you're missing my point. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I'm saying, do you feel like there's a different mood now about these cases?
I was about to say, I was trying to get to what your question was, which is, I would hate to think that the application of the law is on the whim of the attitude of the people. So that's what you're implying, that because the wind has changed, there's an inappropriate application of law. And I would hate to think that we live in a society where that is occurring.
Okay. Bruce Rivers, I mean, you were very confident that he was going to go down to prison for the rest of his natural life. That is clearly not going to happen. So how do you feel about this verdict?
Well, I think the case was overcharged to begin.
Yeah, okay. So Bruce Rivers agrees with me. And like I said, I feel the same thing, that they overcharged him. And I think that's where we got into this conundrum, y'all. They overcharged him for being a freak. That's what it boils down to. They overcharged this man for being a freak. Now, don't get me wrong. He should have been charged with the DV. He definitely should have been charged with domestic. If anything, that is 100%. We see it with our eyes. We all have eyes. We see in the video. But everything else, it seemed like a lot of it was circumstantial. You know what I'm saying? There was no hard, concrete proof. And then you got a bunch of people saying this, and then people not really showing up, just giving testimony. You know what I'm saying? Written statements. That's also a factor here. There's not a lot of concrete proof. So, does he deserve 20 years for being a freak? What they was able to prove. I'm saying what they proved beyond a reasonable doubt is he's a freak. He freaky. And he's got a lot of deviancies, man. But there's a lot of people out there like that. You know what I'm saying? Probably half this panel got some freaky going on in them. You know what I mean?
And what the defense did in this case, they really focused on the free will of Cassie Ventura. When you have somebody that's a hanger-on, somebody that is getting something out of this, as opposed to somebody who's being forced into something.
So that's a good question too. All right, so I see B is for butter, right? So you said fear doesn't have an expiration date. Many survivors of abuse experience long-term trauma. Okay, yup, and anxiety. Okay, that's true. But do you think that she was willing to endure that to keep her lifestyle? That's the question. As long as the lifestyle was there, she was willing to put up with the behavior. Do you think it was her own selfishness in a way? I mean, back of a better term is, do you think that it was her selfishness that kept her there? Do you think it was the lifestyle that kept her there? Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, she obviously survived a lot of trauma, but do you think that it was her own self, you know what I'm saying, what she wanted as far as monetary goes, and she was willing to put herself and go through that because of the fact that she was receiving all of these benefits?
That's where I think the defense really won the day. And, I was going basically on the sensationalistic nature of the conduct, because it really is bad. But when you really apply, I just tried one of these RICO cases here in Minneapolis on a gang case about a month and a half ago, and it's really easy to prove. But the thing about it is here, the court can use some of this acquitted conduct in sentencing.
Good point.
And so it's the final chapter hasn't been written. You know, I know
he may still get a substantial prison sentence, you think?
He could. He could. The average person wouldn't, but the average person doesn't have all this other conduct. You know that.
But how much of that is relevant to what a judge may decide should be a sentence? I mean, I don't think this judge is going to. I mean, the judge, for example, can't bring in the appalling beating video because the statute of limitations is over for that, right? It's not even relevant legally.
Oh, sure it is. All the conduct of Diddy throughout this whole thing is relevant. You know, the judge will take into consideration the whole picture of Diddy, not just the offense for which he's charged. You know, he's got what I think he's like 7 months in or something like that. So if you just look at the low end of the guidelines, he's almost got that served. And so a judge may say, this is not what the message I want to send to the public. You know, and the judge very well, he could sentence him consecutively. I doubt that he's going to, but
hasn't the jury look? I mean, isn't the bottom line here that the jury seems to have concluded, and we may hear from some jurors, but I've just seen a statement from Cassie Ventura's lawyer, Doug Wigdor. He says, we're just pleased that he still faces substantial jail time, or that remains to be seen. By coming forward with her experience, Cassie has left an indelible mark on both the entertainment industry and the fight for justice. She displayed unquestionable strength and brought attention to the realities of powerful men in our orbit. And then,
all right, good point. So you do feel like that did play a role then? Lifestyle things, clear cut, got you. Now I agree with that. That's fair. B is for, but that's fair. That is fair. I just can't feel bad for someone who was okay with everything until the money and perks started to dry up. They all said that Diddy put it down what he wanted, so they couldn't be surprised. Great take. Bree, that's a great take. So if you know, hey, how many of you guys in the comments, man, put it in the comments. Do you feel like you know what you're getting into? As soon as everything dries up, do you think that is okay for you to then turn around and say something bad happened now that the lifestyle's gone? You knew what you were getting into. Never said anything until the lifestyle was gone. I don't know. That's a good point, though. That's a good point. So that it invalidates everything she said. Wait, hold on. So that invalidates everything she said. Victims don't always have clean hands. Does that mean he should get off? Nah. No, you're right. Victims don't always have clean hands. But, that also what it does, and that's what I'm trying to say, is I feel like because of the fact that I didn't think that she was going to come out completely clean, it was going to muddy the waters, and it's going to make people change their opinion. You know what I'm saying? Now, is this just if it was more of a one-sided thing, it would have made it where the testimony that she has is a lot stronger. But now if you see that there's deviancy going on both ends, it kind of makes you take a step back and say, okay, what's really going on here? It just puts that question mark in your head. You know what I mean?
The misconduct that's persisted for decades without repercussion. I'm not sure she has established that in terms of the eyes of the jury. I share the general view that video of Diddy beating her up in the hotel corridor was disgusting. He's clearly an appalling woman beater. However, that's not what he was charged with. And in terms of the charges, it just seems to me they didn't establish that any of this was non-consensual.
There's some truth to that, but they could have decided the RICO on the fact that there wasn't an enterprise. I mean, they could have we don't know why they acquitted on the RICO. On the sex trafficking, it has to be forced fraud or coercion, but they could have acquitted on something else. It's and I think one of the things, like you said, Pierce, is that.
Yeah, that's true right there. that would be a state level. And that's why I feel like they overstepped when it came to the charges, you know, the RICO charge and all of that. I think that they would have had a better chance at the state level, you know what I mean, arguing their case versus bringing it to the federal level. And to be honest with you, I mean, the feds got a better shot, but I just feel like they would have gotten more out of this at a state level. I think they did overstep with the bringing the feds in.
They really focused on the free will, and they had plenty of evidence to back that up. You know, all the text messages saying, "I can't wait for the freak off." You know,
right?
I mean,
but I thought
so. That right there is damning. That right there is damning to the prosecution. That right there hurts the prosecution because of the free will aspect of the entire, you know what I'm saying, of everything. You know what I'm saying? When you got free will, it makes you step back, and I'm just like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because at first, everybody thought this was against her will. But then you see all these text messages seeing that, you know, she actually pursued a lot of this stuff. She initiated a lot of these freak-offs.
Listen, as somebody, you know, just looking at it with a journalist eye, I found that pretty persuasive for the defense. You know, and again, I think it comes back. I mean, I'll bring Matthew back in here. The reason I mentioned the changing mood really about these kind of stories is that I think that people have become a little bit more cynical about cases where...
That's the word I was looking for, cynical. That's the perfect word. That's the perfect word. Females, males, all alike. I think it's going to make people more cynical when they look into these cases because... Let's be real. There's a lot of times where we see people cried wolf, and it come to find out it wasn't what it was. And I feel like this is one of those situations where it does change things because people are going to look at all of these type of cases with a lot more of a sinister tone. You know what I'm saying? They are accountable insofar as jury to discount their testimony for various reasons, including that one you and others have pointed out. Facto. They also would had better chance had not given everyone immunity. Facts. That's another thing, too. You know what I'm saying? The immunity aspect of it, I think that also played a big role as well. Because why do you need immunity? If you're just a pure victim, why do you need immunity? It shows that there's a lot of skeletons and there's a lot of things that are in your closet that, you know what I'm saying, that are going to come out.
Women have stayed in touch with the alleged abuser in a very loving and apparently very consensual way for a long period after the abuse is said to have happened. And then you add in the fact that there was a big settlement and Cassie took all that money and so on and so on. You know, I think when you put it all together, a lot of people may feel differently now than they would have done, you know, in 2019, 2020.
How many of you guys think that's true? Times is changing. Times is changing. That there's just too many allegations out there where, you know, I feel like it's a disservice to women when women that ain't going through this type of thing cry wolf, because in the real victims, they're the ones that end up not getting justice because people come into it already, you know, with a sinister view. You know what I mean? They're like, nah, you know what? Are they really being real this time? You know what I'm saying? I feel like that plays a big part in what's going on right now. Especially with all the social media stuff where you see a lot of this. You see a lot of times where a woman will do something or a man will do something and then cry wolf.
Now, first of all, R. Kelly got convicted because he was screwing kids. That's the big difference. To equate R. Kelly with Puff, it's wrong and it's silly and it's nonsensical.
Which is facts, and I feel like that's what makes her lose credibility. I feel like she's being real emotional, and she's trying to, you know, compare apples to oranges over here. I mean, come on, that's totally different, bro.
R. Kelly was guilty of screwing around with kids. No time, 50 years ago or 50 years from now will that be okay.
Yeah.
This was a bad case. You know, no one believed Cassie. Here's all you need to know. Every single count in which the credibility of the alleged victims was put into question, the jury came back 36 times and said not guilty.
Wow.
Every single case, every single charge that had anything to do with Cassie.
That's really damning, man. That says a lot. 36 times it came back. Yo, that's damning, bro. So they sent them back in. They came out 36 times. Every time it was the same thing, not guilty. That's crazy.
Or with Jane, the jury absolutely did not believe them, found them to not be credible, even to the extent to convict someone who's on a video beating the living snot out of the woman.
And like I said, that right there, you would have thought would have got a lot of bias. But it didn't, because the evidence wasn't there. There was a substantial amount of evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, yo. I think, yo, bro. I'm telling you. Yo, do I think Diddy like do some weird stuff? Yeah, but I just feel like they didn't have enough, man. There's just not enough there, bro. There wasn't enough.
That tells you all you need to know about the case. The media and people, lawyers, plaintiffs' lawyers who wanted to sue him said, "Oh, she's so convincing." It's hard to feel sorry for a woman who's instructing a sex worker on how to urinate in their mouth.
Oh. Yo, put it in the chat. Do you feel like Cassie helped the case or she hurt the case? I need to know. Do you think that her testimonies hurt the case or it helped the case? Put it in the chat, man. I really need to know this. I need to know what y'all is thinking at this point. Really. Do you think it hurt it? It was beneficial or was it, man? Or detrimental? I don't know.
And telling her how to do it. And the Punisher, who I think is just an absolute star, explained this in such...
Nah, that's diabolical. They call him the Punisher. He said he's a star. Yeah, he was a star on them tapes, all right. He was a star on them tapes, all right. Nasty. You think she hurt? All right, so we got one that says she hurt the case. You know what? Can I put this in? Oh, I can't put that in. Yo, babe, do me a favor. Can you put a poll in there? Do you think that go to the live on my account and see and put a poll up? Did Cassie hurt the case, or was she beneficial? Yeah, however you want to word it. Just put it in a poll, please. Thank you, sweetie.
To such a point of view, I would throw my hands up because I literally go, I don't know. You can't have better testimony than that. Other than when Jane said she thought that P. Diddy was a cuckold. And if the prosecution, if they didn't think they had to do it, the defense didn't think they had to do it, they could have called, any head of the human sexuality department. And
okay, so that's interesting, right? So, yo, if Diddy gets whatever he gets, right? Think about Adam 22. And I hate to compare the two and put them in the same sentence, but if you think about it, Adam 22 is a big cuck, bro. And he does a lot of weird, freaky stuff with his girl. If they charge Diddy, they would have to probably charge him. Nah, don't get me wrong. He probably don't put his hands on his girl. But like I said, if you just put it in that perspective alone, Diddy into some weird shit, Adam into some weird shit. You know what I'm saying? Adam 22 from No Jumper. Now, I hate to throw you under the bus. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus like that. I'm just trying to do a comparison where it's like, bro, y'all both into some freaky shit.
Said, tell us about the swingers lifestyle. Tell us about water games. Tell us about this. Put on the videos. That's clearly what it was. We don't have to guess because the jury has told us they believed what the defense team put out there. And Tenny Garagos from the very beginning set the stage for this, the tenor. This is all consensual. It's nothing coerced. And the jury believed every single word of it.
Yeah.
The two convictions are just based upon plane tickets and receipts. That's all. It literally didn't need any testimony from any of the two alleged victims, and I don't know why we're calling them, well, other than the videotape. In this case, they were found not to be victims. They were found to be incredible witnesses, and the evidence from their own mouths and their own fingertips and their own text messages proved that they shouldn't be believed, and the jury obliged them and didn't believe a word they said.
Yes, true. Ariel, in terms of the women you represent with civil actions against Sean Combs, how much will this verdict affect those? I mean, does it make...
Yo, it seems like Ariel brought a lot of bogus. Is she the one that brought a lot of Jane Does? I think that might be an issue too as well.
It's more difficult now to win a civil case.
Before I get into that, I want to just address this verdict really just goes to show how much women are really truly not believed. When
what if they're not? What if they're not telling the
experiencing-
truth?
If they're not credible, it has nothing to do with belief or non-belief. It has to do with them. They just don't have a credible testimony.
To be heard, and now we're just going back to regular status quo.
No,
where
that's
women
not
are
true.
dismissed
No,
and
no.
treated as liars and martyrs.
No, hang on.
Story
Hang on.
has to withstand scrutiny.
Hang on one sec. I was going to say, Ariel, just to be clear, they have been heard, right? They went into a criminal court.
I said believed. I said we are back
Can
to
you
a
not
point where
interrupt me,
women are
given
not
you
being
didn't want me?
See, and that's a problem right there. When you have people like Ariel, I'm sorry, people like you is exactly why the case went the way it did. You won't even let the man speak. You won't allow him to get out a sentence. You're running off emotion. Now, maybe things have happened to you and you have trauma, PTSD, but I don't feel like you're the best suitable person to be the spokesperson for a lot of these females, because some of them probably did have some real cases. But the way that you're going about it, it just shows the way that you're behaving, everything about it, like your mannerisms, anything that has to say with facts and proof, you're rolling your eyes at. You have to take everything into account. And I feel like that's all a woman had to say is, I came in encounter with Diddy. Oh, you did? Sign here. We're going to court. That's what it seems like she did. That's what it seems like she did. Because something had to have happened to this woman for her to feel the way that she is. I feel like this female right here, I feel like she's been through a lot, and I just feel like, she's just blinded by whatever her experience was. That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm getting at right here, because I feel like she's very biased.
I'm interrupting you. Thank you. They have been heard for 6 weeks, and they weren't believed. So it's not a question of women not being heard. They've had their chance to try and prove their case, and so much evidence came out which contradicted what they had to say, including very powerful evidence from the Punisher, who I'm about to interview. But this idea that somehow this is about women being silenced, not being heard and so on, the complete opposite has happened. And what you're actually doing is you're saying this jury of 12 Americans didn't know what they were doing, or had some weird desire not to listen to women. It seems to me they listened very carefully to the evidence, and they've reached a conclusion they didn't believe these women. And you know what, Ariel? Sometimes women lie.
And that's facts. That's facts. And the reason why I say that, I came into this with no bias, but I've been through that. I've been through that, where I was lied on. And I try to keep a, unbiased, view when it comes to that. And it is hard. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, if you are a victim of, misallegations or something like that, now it's nothing to this extent, but it's just that, when it's hard not to be biased. And I think that maybe Ariel went through some things, and that's why she holds the bias she does. But she needs to let it go, especially in the profession that she's in. Because if she doesn't let that bias go, then she's going to muddy the water for a lot of real people that need the help. She's definitely going to muddy the water for them, because it's going to be where people are going to go into this, with the mind frame of, I'm sorry, I don't know if I could believe it or not, especially coming from her. I think she might hurt her practice by holding these biased views.
I'm not saying, but okay, who's saying that people lie? Women or men? Men lie, women lie, and numbers don't.
Yes, that's right.
So we all know that.
So why are you saying it's a throwback to when women weren't believed?
Women are not being believed. So there were 8 men on a jury who, again, I'm saying they heard them. I don't think they did. So believe them definitely, because you can't believe somebody if you not truly are listening to them. Why? Because you're
that's
never
an outrageous slur. You got no evidence.
Yo, did you hear what she just said? You can hear somebody, and that's what it was. They listened and they didn't believe it. Just because you believe it to be fact doesn't mean that's the way that it was interpreted, or that's the way it was advocated. So at the end of the day, when you sit there and you're trying to conceptualize the information, they conceptualized it from an unbiased view, from an unemotional view. And that's what's going on, is you're putting way too much emotion into this instead of, actual thoughts into it and looking at it from an unbiased perspective.
You didn't listen to them.
No man on this panel, all 3 of you, will never be in a position of any woman in any scenario where you can be taken advantage of, where you can be literally abused and then not be heard and be believed after the fact. So I'm just saying there are 3 men and 8 men on that jury who will never know what it's like. And instead of trying to understand the position that a woman could be in, and a woman like Cassie and a woman.
No, that's the thing is people do, and people know what it's like to be on the receiving end of a fake allegation. You got to remember that men could become a victim of a fake allegation. I'm telling you, there was one point all a woman had to do was say, he hit me. No evidence at all. You are going for that ride. You are there was a point in time where you were going for that ride. And I get why they did that, you know, because there was one point in time where a woman could be with black eyes and everything, and the man could say, I didn't do nothing. And people would turn the other cheek. So they had to fix a law where women did have more rights and stuff like that. But then there were some bad actors that actually would go and lie just because the man was leaving them. I got my whole eyeball split open. I had to go to the ER. I had to go to the ER while I was in handcuffs. Nothing wrong with the other person, but just because I was leaving that person and did not want to be in a relationship no more, had all defensive wounds all up and down. I'm telling you, man, this stuff happens. I know it personally, but I still try to remain unbiased.
Women like the other Jane Does who testified in this matter, they completely disregarded it.
No, so, they didn't. They didn't disregard it. They didn't believe it.
I'll circle back to your question.
They didn't believe it. And what you're doing, you're basically saying no man can ever be on a jury fairly in a case like this. There's no evidence to suggest that whatsoever. The evidence was the evidence on the evidence.
I said no man.
Ariel, on the evidence that was presented. If I'd been on that jury, I'd have come to the same conclusion.
A man, I would assume a man would.
Actually,
so
most women I know who studied the evidence.
Yeah, it is. Yo, can I be honest with you? This is a crazy talk show. That's why it's uncensored. You never, if you ever watch him, that's usually the way it goes down.
Properly, also reached that conclusion.
And it's some men I talk.
Yes, and that's facts. There's always, yes, man and female. Yes, facto. That's definitely facts.
Who reach the opposite. So I'm not saying any men or all men, because every person is different. But what I'm saying is men in general the men who I know who do understand had women who experienced that like their mothers. So they experience that in tandem with their mothers. So they have a better understanding of how abuse works, how the cycle of abuse works, how women typically go back to their abusers. But outside of that, you asked me about how did this affect my clients and our cases moving forward. It does not. This case had no effect and would have no effect. We have our own bars that we need to meet in terms of the preponderance of the evidence that we need to reach in our cases. And we are also glad, just in the same voice with Mrs. Ventura, that Diddy will be going to jail. He has skirted, and for there to be this assertion that Diddy has been this law-abiding citizen who hasn't been through this multiple times before, this is really just the only time he got caught up. So I think all of that will affect him, and we are very happy to see him be convicted. We are very happy to see what type of jail time he faces, and we are more excited to litigate our cases against him.
Final word to you, Bruce, just quickly.
The women's cases were heard. They had to withstand scrutiny. The jury, that included women, were unanimous in their rejection of their story. Simple as that. And he is going to get some significant prison time, and he's already done significant jail time. So, you know, hopefully he engages in other behavior, not so risky.
Yeah, I agree. Panel, thank you.
If numbers don't lie, it's 30. Let me say this. If numbers don't lie, it was 36-0. 36-0. In the counts in which the women jurors and the male jurors were asked, do you believe what Cassie and Jane Doe say? 36-0 said we do not believe him.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So that means even the females on that jury said they didn't believe it. Even the females didn't. So that says a lot. 36-0, which means it wasn't a biased jury. It wasn't a biased jury.
Numbers don't lie.
Pretty overwhelming, you might think. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Well, Young Jock and Sammy the Bull are coming up momentarily.
Jock, man.
The jury has reached, not that women were not taken across state lines, which is obviously illegal if they're prostitutes, but that, men as well, but that actually that is the only thing which was wrong here, that actually there was no coercion or trafficking or people being made to do things against their will.
Yeah, I mean, that was my experience. Me taking a stand, I wanted to just be completely honest with the facts of what went on. And, something I will say is, as this went on over the course of 2.5 years, and I would have very personable one-on-one interaction with Kathy prior to the activity, and then also at the conclusion of the activity.
All right, so if you guys are privy to this case, you guys know the Punisher was one of the adults that, male escorts that, took part in this. And I feel like his account of events basically, helped Diddy, because he gives his account of events and what happened and what took place. And I feel like it helped Diddy in the way because he'll explain it. I'm assuming he'll explain it. Go ahead.
And it was always good-spirited, good vibe, no indication that there was any issues, or not even any indication of being the slightest intoxicated, under the influence of any drugs or substances. And
I know you lying. I'm sorry, man. I don't believe that. That I don't believe. I think y'all was like, everybody was hot. Maybe you might not have been hot, but you had to be hot, bro. Come on, bro. 9 days? 9 days? I don't know, man. People had to be out of their tree. I'm sorry. The type of stuff that was going on, bro, it's like you was swimming in a toilet, bro. Like, y'all was like, you know what I'm saying? Like public urinals. Y'all was being treated as public urinals. You have to be out of your tree unless you're like really crazy into that deviancy. There's no way. I ain't buying that, bro. I ain't buying that there was not no no narcotics, man.
It was always a pleasant scenario that I told you I walked away with, actually feeling as like a positive thing that I was even involved. So everything threw me off with the allegations. I can only speak from my specific experience, but none of it never really added up to me.
So are you? I mean, what's your response to the verdict?
I thought the verdict was what it was supposed to be. This is domestic violence. If you want to talk about domestic violence and his behavior in those situations, that's a different subject. But when you look at a 10-year relationship and mutual text messages expressing love and care, and at multiple points, excitement about the sexual activity, to then say, okay, I'm going to signal out a couple of instances and make it a crime, always to me was a stretch.
Do you feel, we were talking about it earlier, that there might be a changing mood about these kind of cases, that at the height of Me Too, there was a kind of frenzy, and, some very bad men clearly got the punishment they deserved. Others, many people felt there was a massive overreach. And a lot of those cases, which were messier, involved cases where there was lots of evidence after the alleged crime or claimed crime that, that everything was still very friendly, consensual, loving, and so on. Do you think that juries now maybe are less willing to convict people when that kind of evidence comes out than they may have been, say?
I believe that juries are starting to look more into, like, let it play out versus just, coming with a preconceived notion of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? They don't judge it before all of the evidence comes out. And I think that's the way it's supposed to be, bro. Like, when you're talking about somebody's freedom, I think you got to look at everything, all the evidence, everything that took place. You got to hear everybody out. I think, you see a couple of bad videos, it's easy to become biased, but then when you get deeper into the evidence, you're like, well, maybe it isn't what it looks like. Yes, the dude's a monster, but it doesn't seem like it is exactly the way they're painting them out to be, because they had a couple of issues, which he should be charged with that. But I mean, hey, they said it's past statute of limitations. It's past that point. It's past that point. So I don't even think they can hit him with that. But I think they should use it as far as character goes. As far as talking about somebody's character, I think some of those things should be used, especially if you have it in 4K. If you have it in 4K, if it's not hearsay, I think you should definitely use it.
3-4 years ago?
I do. I think initially, because there was such a strong movement, right? And all of these cases out of and there was a neglect over years of women being hurt. And that was a real thing. But now, because there's so many scenarios of financial gain and a monetary gain based on these circumstances, the majority of these cases are filed civilly before they're filed criminally, right? And so I think it is just responsible, right, to look at these things in totality, especially in a case like this where you have people in a long-standing, loving, caring relationship that years after the fact, it becomes a crime. And, every relationship has ups and downs and tough moments and difficulties and adversity that gets ugly sometimes. But for it to translate to a space of criminal activity in the midst of being in love and then continuing to be in love, it should be looked at and scrutinized really strongly. Yeah, I mean, look.
Does anybody in the chat think that they actually loved each other, or do you think it was a give and take relationship? Let's be real. I think they both wanted something. I think it was more of a contractual relationship than a loving relationship, to be honest with you. I don't know if there ever was love there. I just don't see it. And I mean, hey, that's on them. I mean, if that's what love looks like, shit. But I think it was more of a contractual thing. I think it was more of a give and take relationship. You know what I mean? That's what I personally feel. But put it in the comments what y'all think, man. Chat, y'all put it in the comments what you think. Do you think there was actually love there at any point? Or do you think it was more of a give and take?
Look, domestic violence, there's no way to sidestep the behavior in that video. And, statute of limitations are what they are. There was no charges that could be brought up for it. But if you're just talking about the charges themselves in regards to sex trafficking and racketeering, it's just hard to take that instance and turn it into those charges.
I like
that. As egregious as that instance was, it just doesn't add up. Right. It's just not aligned.
How has your life been affected by being such a high-profile witness in a case like this?
It's something that I have to manage because in forums like this, where you have people that's gonna judge it based on the facts, judge it based on the way I represent myself or whatever, is fine. I feel like to be involved in such a high-profile, ugly scenario, I've landed on my feet. But you still have a big portion of people that they operate on ideology and opinion, and I get DMs periodically, with women yelling at me saying I urinated on Cassie. How could you urinate on Cassie? So there is a negative aspect that I just have to maneuver through.
Yeah, how do you respond to that? Because she paid me to do it? That's just crazy.
But hey, look, where are some of our choices? This was a choice. This was a decision I made, and I'm just dealing with it, trying to make the most of it to whatever degree I can.
You had barely any interaction whatsoever with Diddy in the entire time that you were part of their world. What are your feelings about him now that we know what he's been convicted of, and he's likely to face a prison sentence for some time? We don't know how long that will be, but it could be up to 10 years, very unlikely, but he certainly will go to prison for a lot longer than he's currently served. What are your feelings about him?
I really think I look at this situation with Mr. Combs similar that you see with a lot of people who are in very powerful positions for long periods. If they don't have a good circle of someone that can actually give them an opinion, a strong opinion adversely, hear no, hear, listen, you shouldn't be doing this. A lot of these people do escalate to behaviors that push the limit. And I think this is a excellent wake-up call for him, because I'm sure he's looking at his own behaviors.
Y'all think that Puffy will change? Do y'all think Puffy's going to change? Hopefully he does. I want to see what Young Jock got to say before I'm out of here. And then I want to see what the mobster got to say, Sammy the Bull, because Sammy the Bull's on here, and he's going to speak about the RICO and everything. And, this, that, and the third. So let's just get to them.
Alumni of Diddy's Bad Boy Records, was one of the first to see Diddy's abusive behavior towards Cassie Ventura. And Salvatore Gravano, better known as Sammy the Bull, a former underboss in the Gambino crime family, who knows more about RICO cases than probably any man alive. Well, welcome to both of you, both making your uncensored debuts. I appreciate it. Young Jock, let me just get your reaction, first of all, to this verdict.
You wildin', Bray.
I kind of felt that it could play out in this way. Once some of those stories started not really adding up, you know, they weren't properly corroborated between Cassie and some of the other people involved, and the way some of them changed up. And then with you having on, what was the guy's name who was the Punisher?
Yeah.
Like, he was supposed to be there for Cassie's behalf, basically. And they try to. It sounds like they asked him to be as clean and cut as possible, and don't add too much, don't take away. And it seems like it hurt their case.
Yeah.
Because he basically said, "Hey man, this time she called me, and you know, and the other girl was calling and tipping me and doing. You know, it's kind of like, well, to make it seem as if I'm forced to be here and you setting up the plays." It just seems to me like it didn't play out well, but it played out well for Diddy. It didn't play out well for, you know, prosecution.
But from what you saw of Diddy and Cassie Ventura, are you happy with this verdict, or do you think he's got away with something here where he did have a controlling relationship with her?
No, I mean, listen, let's be honest. When you're talking about consenting adults, there's too many times that I was with Cassie and Diddy. My ex-wife's birthday party one year, we were in Miami, and I pulled up to Diddy's house in a
I feel like that
100-foot
too.
yacht. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, me and Cassie, we in the house. You and your wife want to come in and kick it? We came, kicked the jet skis, kicked it or whatnot. And that's the night, you know. And just to clean it up, the way you introduced me, I never saw any abusive behavior towards Diddy. And this is what's interesting. When this case first took off, the minute the lawsuit dropped, I was just on Vlad TV, and I was talking about the moment we were in Miami, the night that I'm speaking of, while being there with Diddy and Cassie and my wife and other friends and other celebrities. And all I made reference to is the influence he had over the culture. That's all I was speaking of, because he saw a white woman in the club who I saw him notice. I was like, what is he doing? Because he stopped in mid everything. And he jumps down, he comes to tell Cassie, hey, I want you to cut shade aside of your head. Now, I thought that...
Wait, what? Oh, shoot. Wait, what? Yeah, that's crazy. That's bugged out. Yo, that's just crazy.
It was crazy, yeah. I was like, what? Why would you do that? And then she said to me, whatever Sean wants, Sean gets. And after that, it was like, that was the perfect time for them to drop the whole
But that's very interesting.
Lawsuit.
That's very interesting what you're saying, because I think what you're saying is that it may have been mischaracterized as being a non-consensual thing.
Okay, so, yo, that's pay for play to me. That's pay for play for me, man. I'm sorry. That's pay for play.
That he was, you know, forcing her to do this, but that she was happy to do it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's not like he said, hey, get over here and grab her by the neck, cut your hair off tomorrow. No, he said, baby, yo, I just saw something really dope. Tomorrow, he was enthused, he was hyped. We was having a good time. We was partying.
That puts it in perspective.
My ex, and she was like...
That puts it in perspective. I thought he was just like, yo, come here and shave your head. She shaved her head. That would have been diabolical. I was like, yo, nah. So, okay, he was like, yo, you know what's interesting? You know what'd be dope if you shaved your head?
Shave the side of my head? He's like, yeah, it's gonna be big, trust me. And she said, okay. And he walked back, got back on we went and live. He jumped back on it's not a stage, but the bar or whatever. And he puts his whistle back in his mouth and get back to the party. And I'm like, are you really gonna do this? And that's when she said what she said to me, like, yeah, if he wanted. And I remember her calling me 2 days later and sending me the picture of her hair. And I was like, whoa.
Yo, you know what's crazy? You make a great point right here. Elite Leo, you make a great point. And they tend to do that when they want to lock somebody up and put them under the prison. That's usually what they do. They try to redefine the law and everything. That does happen. You see that way too many times, in way too many instances.
Oh, you really did it. And from there, I saw that trend take off. So That's all I was saying in that space that I was speaking on.
Very interesting.
With the girls, whatever he did. But I didn't see it as a RICO case, and I thought that was going to destroy it. Most people don't even understand what a RICO case is.
Right.
So you're giving it to a juror of 12 people. Probably none of those people understood what a RICO case is, and they took different statements. I'm going to agree with some of the people that you interviewed already, and the guy sitting next to you. And a lot of this was consensual, and that's what really, really blew it out of the water
in a lot of
for the defense. It sounded like a win.
Oh shit! Yo, you got a good point. My girl Bree, she did. She came from across country. Should we be worried? Yo, if she was here, y'all would get a kick out of her, man. She's a trip. But you got a good point. I didn't think about that. But I didn't pay for it. We got to make that clear. She paid for it herself. But she did come across country. Damn, what was it, 3,700 miles? A couple times. She made that trip a couple times. Oh, shit, you got it. Bree, you crazy. Stop it. Stop it. She did, though. She came all the way from the West Coast. All the way up here. She did. That's facts.
When, you do something violent, listen, you had a female lawyer talking a little while ago, and she says it's about race, it's about women, it's nothing to do with race or women. There was black, there was white, there was everything. But the point is that when you're having consensual sex, it's a different ballgame. It's not that much of a crime anymore. What blew me away is that when she was calling him back after she got beat up and all of that stuff, and told him, when are we going to have the next freak off? When's the next party? Yeah. So she's not a...
Damn, babe. So basically with you, I got to be on my P's and Q's because you can catch me out there, huh? According to this, anything freaky me and you did, man, I could get charged. Yeah, that's what's trial important is going to little small shit that person does as well. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, man. Shit, thank God I'm a small YouTuber. People be talking crazy. Well, technically, though, you did take care of me. Promise me the lavish life of a YouTuber. I didn't promise you nothing. I told you I was broke. I was testing your loyalty, woman. And I was seeing if you'd pay your way. And you did. So I ain't gonna lie. So you held up your end of the bargain. So I had to hold up my end as far as like taking care of you as far as emotional and loving you. All right?
Victim to me anymore. She's something that they enjoy doing together in their parties, and they're back and forth. So how do you make her a victim? Because she's just a woman? That's what that other lawyer was saying.
I think that's very interesting, because I think that is what the jury, who were 8 men, 4 women, that is the conclusion they all reached. They clearly did not believe what the 2 women were saying. They did not believe it was non-consensual.
Absolutely. Let me go back to the female lawyer you had on when she said there was men and we don't understand women. That's ridiculous. That's
I agree. Very patronizing.
I have a daughter. I have a granddaughter.
That is crazy, though. Bree got a good point. If they could get Diddy for that, then they could get me for, because my shorty came all the way from the West Coast. Yeah, that's facts. That is facts. That is facto right here. Any of y'all just tuning in and missed it, man. That's facto. You shouldn't be worried. You said, should we be worried? No, it would be me. You've been using me this whole time. Yo, you're stupid. Stop making light out of this. We got to get serious. This is a serious case, serious matter.
I have 4 or 5 women working for me. I know what women are about. To say I don't understand women because I'm a man, that's insane. It's the act. It's not whether he's black or white or a man or a woman. It's about the facts of the case and what went on. I was just saying, he's been at a party. She told him to he told her to shave her head. She went ahead and did it. I mean, listen, it's consensual. Now, if
Yo, Bree, I want you to shave your forehead, bro. I want you to shave your baby hairs. You heard? I want you to shave them baby hairs. Then the case saying that women were manipulated, groomed, and talked into, well, been talked to sex before or have talked someone. Yeah, that's true. I say we because we partners. Nah, man, you try to put me out there, man. Yeah. Okay, you feel like you should have got 20? You feel like, all right, so you feel like you should have got 20? All right. Under what charges do you think you should have got 20 for? Do you think that they proved their case? And I appreciate you for being sub to me for all this time. Thanks, fam. All right. Ask everyone in relationship if they had sex with feel it didn't want to because their partner wanted it. Okay.
If I had one of the girls who worked for me tell her shave her head and she says, no, forget about it, I ain't doing that. And I grab her by the neck and I bring the razor, that's violence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now she's scared to death.
No, I agree. As we're talking, 50 Cent has given a reaction on Instagram. Diddy beat the feds. That boy is a bad man. Beat the Rico. He's the gay John Gotti. What's your response?
Yeah, they didn't have enough evidence for that, though. They didn't have enough evidence for that. And as we were saying, yeah, they didn't have enough evidence for that.
Response to that, Sammy?
You know, I don't like the thing. I think he's half gay because he met women and men, so you could call him gay. John Gotti was not gay. John Gotti beat the government. He was flamboyant. You may not like his style, but to label him as gay.
To be clear, he doesn't call it. I think he's saying he's the gay version of John Gotti because Gotti, of course, did beat the rap as well. So I think he's...
Yo, 50 is wild. Hold on. What the is he talking about? He said that what? Where is that? Where's 50 at, man? 50 is wild, bro. So what did he say? Yo, that's just bugged out, man. Hold on. So what you're trying to tell me is this? Hold on. What is that on? Is that on thing? How the hell you gonna call him the gay? Yo, are you crazy? 50 crazy, bro.
Making the point that Diddy is the gay version. He's not actually saying John Gotti was gay.
Okay, I understand it a little better now. And if that's what they want to call him, that's up to them.
Yeah, I think the difference though with the Weinstein thing, I think because they were trying to compare the R. Kelly thing, right? And I think the difference is like with the Weinstein that had to do with kids, versus this was they ended up looking at it as consensual, versus the Weinstein situation. $52 funny, He-Man rolling this whole... Yeah, I know, he crazy.
There's mudslinging about all of this stuff, whether he's gay, whether he's black, whether he's gay himself, whatever it is.
He's
whatever,
obsessed with that.
You know, that's all bullshit.
Yeah,
you have a case. The government screwed up. They hit him with a RICO case. It didn't fit. People didn't understand it. And the evidence was there. Men were on the stand. You had a few men talking, especially the guy sitting.
I'm not gonna lie. Yo, I think if you in the room, I'm sorry. To me, I could just never do a threesome with a dude. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that, yo, seeing his chest hairs, hearing him grunt, to me, I don't even think I could even perform. Because that, to me, is just going to be a turnoff. I do feel like, yo, if you've done threesomes or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and you got another dude there, you have some gay tendencies. You know what I mean? Because I don't see how you could perform with another dude dead. You know, it's just, to me, it's just like, bro, I can't be looking at you while I'm doing this. Like, I'm just gonna be turned off. You know what I'm saying? To me is just like, yo, you got some weirdo tendencies, man. Sorry, man. I'm sorry, yo. If you had a threesome, bro, and there was another dude and you was a dude, bro, you gotta go reevaluate, bro, because I think that you might go that way. Now, if you do, that's fine. If that's you, if that's what it is, it's cool. Hey, that you do you. But me, I could never do that. I could never do that. Nah, you ain't messing up the chat. I hope it didn't mess up the chat. I wanted to come here like I've been on following. Yeah, man. Yo, we mess with you, man. We mess with you. It's all good. I appreciate you. Eminem and 50 are working on... oh, snap. I can't wait to see that, man. Yeah, we usually do music reactions over here, but you know what I'm saying? Copyrights is getting crazy. Hold on. You know what? I got to look up something else real quick. Hold on. Let me see what we're doing here. Copyrights is getting crazy. All right, so, yo, Academics got a little rod on. Hold on. Let me just see what he's talking about real quick.
To how to do this, and I only knew this because he's not the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the 10th attorneys. I've been having attorneys working for me since I was 17, so I know the attorney game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that being said, he was giving me bad counsel, and I know the music business. And so based on that, I had to remove him from my team. And you can put the rest together in your head. He went to school with Puff.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, do you believe the feds lost the most important charges, or the charges that carry the most weight, because they didn't bring you in? I'm gonna read your lawsuit, and you actually say, you know, Sean Combs and KK had me send Ubers to transport sex workers to come to Two Star Island. That would kind of fit under sex trafficking. Like, you could have been a valuable witness. Why not bring you up there? Because KK's not going to be there. Why not bring you there to say, hey, I would send the Ubers, they would pay me back. I would send the Ubers to get the sex workers or the people who were, quote unquote, being sex trafficked.
I really don't know, and I really wouldn't count them out yet. They did say that they was going to bring some other charges, etc.
More charges?
Yeah. So I really don't know, and for me, I would rather let them do their job. You know what I'm saying? And trust that they're going to bring some results. Look, believe it or not.
Oh, he was?
Diddy's team is over there taking a victory lap. Okay? Now, he still is hit with 2 felonies, but they're taking a victory lap. Who takes a victory lap and you hit with 2 felonies unless you know you're getting off on more than you should have? You know what I'm saying? They're taking victory laps, bro. He's a felon. What happened to all this? The fame, my name, we gonna sue you. Our client has done nothing, etc. But in open court, it's clear, and he's a 2-time convicted felon, bro. Nobody was able to bring that to him, bro. I'm the only person that have, bro, and we all know, you can probably name 10 situations that people feel like he had his hands in. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of speculation about Pac's death. There's a lot of speculation about Diddy's Biggie's death. There's speculation.
Hey, how many of y'all think that Diddy has something to do with Pac and Biggie? Put it in the comments, man. Seriously, I want to see where y'all is at on that, because, hey, there's a lot of speculation about that. And do you think that this might come up? This might be something.
About Kim Porter. There's speculation about Natasha Rubin.
You said that he openly bragged about getting away with crimes.
Bro.
Would he get drunk? Would he be drunk when he's saying this, or would he be sober like, yo, I'm untouchable, I'm above the law?
You never know what he's on sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes he come in there, he on that doggone shroom, he's going crazy. Sometimes he's on Tuesday, sometimes he come in there and he just coked all the way up. Or on heroin. You never know, bro.
Did he ever approach you to have sex with any of his women, whether close girlfriend or not? Did he ever said, hey, Lil Rod, I want you to have sex with this woman, and maybe even insinuate. No, it's not funny. This is insinuate that he might watch.
Listen. Trial, bro.
Okay.
Trial.
By the way, do you feel a little bit happy though that the way the
Yeah, that's you might be right. You might be right on this one, but here's the thing, man. Cassie went for the monetary gain first. That's the problem with it. You know what I'm saying? Like she didn't when people are like, when we're regular schmegular people, we just end up having to go, you know what I'm saying? We end up taking that ride because, you know what I mean? And depending on what you have, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what your net worth is or nothing like that. But I think what happened here was it just seemed like it was more of a money grab because of the way that they went about the case and the way they articulated the case. You got a good point there. Yeah, Pac was not all the way there. Pac was not all the way there. That's facts. Pac wasn't all the way there. You just never know, because Pac from 1 minute to the next, he be cool 1 minute, he's an activist 1 minute, the next minute he ready to burn down the village.
government's initial charges or final charges, the 5 counts, they matched your lawsuit pretty well. I mean, y'all accuse civil RICO, they charge him for RICO. Y'all basically say sex trafficking. They gave him 2 sex trafficking charges. And you list 1, 2, 3, you list 8 sex workers that showed up to 2-Star Island, and you say these are the dates of the 4 solicitations. And
yo, what is up with these dudes, man? These rich celebrities, they got these weird islands. If you got an island to me, man, that's suspect, bro. 2-Star Island, bro. Then they got Epstein Island. Like, yo, what's up with y'all in these little islands, man? Any man watching me is getting a jaws. Yeah, fact though. Yo, but what is up with these islands, bro?
they basically have him convicted now on 2 prostitution acts. Do you feel victory in that your civil suit has gotten some criminal accountability out of him?
Yeah, so, to be honest, bro, I had mixed emotions. Now, look, we're going to sit here and talk about all the negative things, but there was some great moments of working together, right? And also, put that aside, I'm a father. You know what I'm saying? I'm a father. And
your New York accent, I got to hear that. I got to hear your New York accent, fam. That's hilarious. He said my New York accent.
I didn't want to see him go to jail for the rest of his life, or I didn't want to see him die in there. But I also didn't want to see him running the streets just freely and intimidating and you know what I'm saying?
What would have been an appropriate amount of time that you think that he should have been incarcerated? Or, I mean, he still could be incarcerated for. You say you don't want him to die in jail. He's 55. If he gets 20 years in jail, 75. The average age of prison inmate is actually around low 70s, so that's death in jail. So
be clear, I don't feel like jail is the answer to everything, bro.
So you think he should just go to rehab?
No, I don't think he should go to rehab. I think the problem is the people around.
You think he should get a needle?
No. I think it's the people around him who has been yes man just to receive money.
Like, you accuse this guy of serious crimes. You said he sexual assaulted you and sex trafficked people. What do you think should happen to him? You're saying you don't think jail is appropriate. You say you don't want him to die in jail. What do you want to have happen to him? You want him to get shot in the head?
This type of guy uses money and influence to get everything. You know what I'm saying?
So you think he should just give up all his money, that he doesn't have that power anymore?
From that, and he don't have that, and he's forced. He's already doing some time, but with this time, if he's forced to go to rehab.
How many of y'all agree? If he's found not guilty, y'all think that he should be stripped of all of his finances? Do you feel like he should all of his finances? I have you up. If you want to come up, man, you come up right now. Speak your piece. I'll drop the link. Tell me to drop the link. We can discuss it. Bree's not here. Yeah, I don't feel like he should be stripped of it. If he's found not guilty, I don't see why he should have to pay more. You know, hey, if you're found not guilty by a jury of your peers, that's the law. Whether you like it or not, it is what it is.
And then do some things like, you know, parole, where they monitoring all his activity, etc. That's more helpful to him, and not necessarily him, but to the kids. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, he got a young one. So, you know, when you take away that, it focuses him, it makes him still not have that type of control of power, but he's there and present in the family lives. You know what I'm saying? I don't think taking any person, and specifically the man, away from the family is the answer. So,
yeah, but if you strip him of all of his resources, how can he take care of his family? That makes no sense to me.
You accuse him of crimes that are first-degree crimes that all carry life
I'm
in prison.
accusing him. I'm just telling him what he's did.
A civil RICO is a sister charge to a criminal RICO, and a RICO carries up to life in prison.
He did it. He did it, bro.
So would you have been okay? And again, I feel like I'm still struggling with getting a straight answer from you. Would you have been okay if he has to forfeit all of his fortune? Like, you know, he just doesn't have all of this resources, a plane or this or that. That he could take advantage of other people, but for the people he has taken advantage of, you and other people, according to you guys, he liquidates his fortune and he pays y'all off, maybe gives some to his kids, but
see, that's what I'm talking about. Why is everybody talking about money? Why ain't they talking about, I'm telling you, man, nobody's talking about justice. It's all about money. It's all about money. That's the problem. And that's why he never, ever, 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 and he's not going to end up seeing anything because none of y'all, all of y'all is in it for the wrong reasons, man. Y'all is in it for the wrong reasons. You heard? Let me see. Let me see if I drop the link.
He's no longer the person that could do what you've claimed he's done with the money he has. Because put it like this: if somebody sexually assaulted me, I want him to be in jail. Actually, I want him death by firing squad. You're saying that you don't think he should die in jail. Just to let you know, first degree.
I don't think death is the penalty. You know what I'm saying? And I don't believe.
Well, why not life in prison? First degree sexual assault carries life in every single state. A first degree sexual.
I understand what it carries, but again,
but you don't think that's appropriate?
That's ultimately not my decision. But you got to understand, I'm gonna always look at things a little different, bro. You know, I've had a cousin die in the car with me when I was young. You know what I'm saying? And I understand the ripple effect. I understand how that hurt my auntie or his brother, how it hurt my mom and so many people.
Why do you care about his family and his mom if you said he sexually assaulted you?
Bro.
If someone assaulted me, fuck they kids, fuck their mom.
That's the problem with
you
the
took
world,
my
bro.
innocence and you took my life away. It's like
Bro,
if somebody kills my brother, it's like I'm not gonna be like, well, they have a mom too. Fuck 'em.
Yeah, that's facts, though. I just feel like, Lil Rod wants some money, man. He want to become Big Rod. You know what I'm saying? He want to stand on that cash.
That's the problem. But that's the problem with the world, bro. We so selfish. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I've had people, bro. If I open up a can of whoop ass or civil suits on everybody who's done something to me, bro, it won't even be no more music industry, bro. Still just.
Slim Shady. Slim. Let me see. Hold on. I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
You can hear me now? So what do you think, man?
You can hear me?
What do you think about this? Yeah, what do you think about this?
Well, being a New Yorker, you notice how I said it with the ER?
Yeah. New Yorker.
It's New Yorker. Okay, I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah, New Yorker.
No, I just wanted to come up real quick because I watch your reactions and everything. That's what made me hooked on your channel. But this whole Diddy thing it just sickens me only because the way certain people are treating it. Like right away they're bringing race into it. You know, like trying to put a billionaire black man behind bars for life and et cetera. And it's like we all know. I mean, maybe you don't believe it, but we all know he's dirty. I mean, I personally, he is dirty, and he should have been convicted up to at least 20 years. Okay,
We
because
know
there's
he's
many
dirty.
people. Huh?
Yeah, go ahead. I said we know he's dirty, but he needs to be charged for what he's dirty for. That's what I feel.
Well, well, I personally think that whole thing when they said, "Oh, he got the feds," he messed up or whatever the case is. I mean, that the feds messed up and all that stuff. I think Diddy knew a hit was coming on him that time when he got busted,
Oh yeah,
and
it
I
was
think,
coming on him for sure.
yeah,
It was
I
definitely coming
think
all
he
over
hit a.
him.
I think he hit a lot of stuff that the feds couldn't find.
Yeah.
And if you could catch Epstein and you could catch Weinstein and put them in jail for life, then I don't know how Diddy avoided this. I really don't. And I think the avoidance was mostly threats from Diddy. I think Diddy was threatening a lot of people
So what you're saying is,
and saying,
so basically he hit it well. Then they couldn't find
yeah, I think he hit
an
a lot of
abundance of
stuff
evidence.
well. I think he hit a lot of stuff well. And as far as like the charges that he did get like he was charged guilty of, in my opinion, were nonsense charges. I think that was bull.
Yeah.
He should have got hit with the 3 biggest charges. That's my opinion.
They didn't have enough evidence though.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm saying about as far as him hiding stuff, because he knew a raid was coming, and he probably hit a lot of stuff. But I think what mostly protected him, honestly, I think he made threats to people saying, "Yo, if you say anything, I'm gonna do this. Yo, if you say anything, I'm gonna do this." You know?
Okay.
If you react, I don't know if you reacted to it yet, but if you react to the leaked version "Smack You" by Eminem,
Yeah.
yo,
I did.
Diddy. Oh, you did. Diddy and Rick Ross. Diddy and Rick Ross were involved in the murders of Tupac and Biggie. I don't care what anybody says.
Rick
He was
Ross?
involved with no, not Rick Ross.
Or Suge Knight?
Suge Knight. My bad.
Okay.
Suge Knight.
Got
My
you.
bad.
Got you.
Suge Knight's a punk anyway. He gets knocked out easy. But
Everybody says that after that dude slept him, bro.
yeah, 3 people knocked him out.
Yeah, that was
You know?
after that, man. They finally
Yeah.
tested his chin, but go ahead.
Yeah, but basically, I don't know, man. I think the whole chicken caboodle, if anybody knows what that means, is Diddy, Jay-Z, and Beyonce are involved in the whole scheme. That's I had to bring up. Yeah.
Hold on. Now we going somewhere. Now you got to explain what you are talking about. People need to know this. Let's hear it. We gotta hear
Oh,
it. Let's
man.
go. Here we go.
All right. So when all this junk came out, right? Where the hell did Jay-Z go? Where the hell did Beyonce go? They were gone.
Play it smart. They stay
They
low,
were gone.
man.
They
Yeah,
disappeared.
They stay low.
You know what I'm saying?
This is all right. So just let everybody know this is your perspective. Allegedly,
Yeah, just my
this is your
perspective.
perspective.
No, this
All
is
right,
this.
yo. I already know how to get down. I ain't trying to get sued over here.
No. This is my perspective. This is
All right,
my
I
opinion.
need to put it out there. I got to put it out there just because.
No,
if
you
it
can
ever
put it
comes
out there.
across and
This
they
is
clip from this.
everybody has an opinion. This is my opinion. Okay.
All right.
Because like I said, as soon as he got hit with that raid, all of a sudden Jay-Z vanishes. Okay. And I think the head of the table is Queen Beyonce. Beyonce is such a sneaky.
Why?
Beyonce is such a sneak. Why? Beyonce got handed everything to her. Everything handed to her. She
What did
got
she get
Grammys
handed to
handed to her. She got Grammys handed to her.
Okay.
Come on, man. She
But
got
that means
everything
she's
handed
guilty
to
or
her.
something?
I think she's guilty. I think she helped Diddy set up those parties.
How many times you watch the Grammys and some nobody ends up winning and you're like, who the hell is this person?
Yeah, and how the hell did she win a country album? Are you serious now?
Oh no, I didn't listen to that. Is she a good country?
She won.
She is from Texas.
It doesn't matter.
She's a country girl.
No, but Yeah, but you're singing R&B, and all of a sudden you're winning an award for best country album? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, man, she country.
Nah,
She
they
country, man. She country, man. She country, man.
Why don't they like Eminem?
Oh, you playing the reverse Uno card? You hit them with a reverse Uno card now?
Why don't they
Come
like?
on now.
Why don't they like 50 Cent?
Yeah,
know?
but Joe, if you do know, country, well, Texas would be considered country.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your country girl.
Yeah, but you got other country artists that are strictly country. Beyonce's not strictly country.
So you mad because it was her first drop and she won? Is that what got you upset? Name a better country
No.
singer
That's
that
not no. Not because of the album. What I was saying is, Beyonce is, I think, the head mastermind behind everything. Because everybody
Go ahead.
Because just hear me out. Because everybody loves Beyonce. Get what I'm saying? And if everybody's gonna love Beyonce, they're not gonna think she would. Oh shit! Hold on, I got a phone call. I gotta go.
Yeah, all right. That dude's a trip, man. Yo, that's funny, man. That is hilarious. But hey, man, he had an important call. But anyways, bro, what do you guys think about that? Put it in the chat. What do y'all think about that? Like I said, I feel like people end up getting Grammys that don't deserve them sometimes. And it's like, like I said, that's why I don't watch the Grammys. Just to let y'all know. I don't watch the Grammys because it's like, you'll have somebody that had a good run for the whole year. And it's like, who the hell is that person y'all got there? Who is that? Who is that person? You know what I'm saying? Like, who is that person? Who is that? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But y'all, that was funny. That was funny. Hold on. I got to get this out of here. See? Y'all messing with my... Hold on one second. Y'all messing with me. I got me up here double time now. Hold on.
Now, within the last 2 or 3 months, bro, I can open up 2 lawsuits right now on somebody totally different. And not to say that I won't, but the reality is, bro, we the problem with the world is.
Are you going to file another lawsuit potentially on anybody else?
I'm pondering. I'm thinking about it, and right now that's not my main focus.
Hold on, y'all. I'm still trying to figure out a way to get my ass out of here, bro. Where I got 2 screens open, and for some reason this isn't cooperating with me, man. All right, there we go. Got it. We good.
My main focus.
Yo, it seems like this dude's all about the cheddar.
This and just keep my mental health. This shit took my mental health to a whole nother state, bro. Nobody gives a fuck about that, bro.
Big Act still doing it. It's all good, man. We had a good conversation. There'll be a lot more coming from that. I really only came online for that, chat, so I don't have too much for you. I do know that we need to, or we got to flush out this this news story about the mass shooting in Chicago. 19 people got shot. 4 have been confirmed dead. There might be more people dead.
Oh, damn.
We'll speak about that probably a little bit later. I'll try to pop back on because YB's having a release. He's having an album release, and I want to pop on and to hear the album, okay? So, chat, I'm sorry for I guess it's a short stream, but this is 3 hours and 30 minutes, so.
Yeah. I've been on for... Hold on, because I'm gonna end up redoing a stream, but I'm going to do what my girl Bree... I've been on for like 2 hours right now. But I kind of wanted to cover a little bit of the... Hold on one second. Let me check this out real quick. I just want to see if there's any more video real quick on this. If there's anything that I missed, put it in the comments. If there's a video that I missed on this Diddy trial, because hold on, Diddy's lawyers declare victory. Hold on one second. His lawyers declare victory. So then he won the whole thing? Oh, this was 5 hours ago. Why is it saying this was only 2 hours ago? They're saying it was only 2 hours ago.
All right. Thank you all for being patient. Am I speaking loud enough? You all can hear me okay? All right. Today's a great victory. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. It's a great victory for the jury system. You saw that the Southern District of New York prosecutors came at him with all that they had. They're not stopping, but one thing stands between all of us and a prison, and that is a jury of 12 citizens. And
which I agree with that. I agree with that, man. I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, you have to go through your due process, and hey, you know, once you win, if you win, that's what it is, bro. And I mean, people are gonna have mixed emotions and reactions and feel a certain way, but at the end of the day, you know, that's why it's the best country in the world, because you are judged by, you know, a jury of your peers. You know what I mean?
We had a wonderful jury. They listened to every word, and they got the situation right, or certainly right enough. They acquitted him of the sex trafficking, which he was absolutely innocent of. They acquitted him of the racketeering conspiracy that he was absolutely innocent of, and all of the components to it. The kidnapping, he was innocent of that. The arson, he was innocent of that. The obstructing justice, he was innocent of that. And that is no longer just me saying that. That is the verdict of our jury. So today's a great day. Today is a win. Today is a victory of all victories for Sean Combs and our legal team. And I want to say one thing. There are very few people around whom a legal team could coalesce and become one. And Sean Combs is that person, and we are all blessed to be part of it. And I am now done speaking to you, and I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Garagos.
All right, I first want to thank my client, Sean Combs, for trusting us,
a whole squad.
Myself and everybody here, this incredible dream team that he put together. Without him, we would not have been able to do this. He is incredible, and I want to thank him. I want to thank the jury for putting such great care into this case. They came early every single day, and I want to thank...
Pause. That just don't sound right anymore. They came early every single day. It just don't sound right no more. Anything you have with the those type of words in it, talk about Puff, bro, it's just like, you don't think the same anymore. They came early every
as
single
I said
day.
In my opening, standing between all of us and the drastic consequences of the criminal convictions of sex trafficking and RICO is a jury of our peers. And I thank them. I want to thank the judge, and I want to thank, despite the terrible conditions at the MDC, I want to thank the good people who worked there, who ensured that we had sufficient amount of time to prepare for trial. It is extremely difficult to prepare for a federal case in the conditions at the MDC, and they did everything they could to make that happen. I want to thank them. I also have been saying this since the beginning of this
Hold on. My
case.
shit glitching.
As soon as you put the plug in on the Sonic, you're 90%, 95% of the way there. What other plugins do you...
Let me turn this.
Sean Combs has not sexually assaulted anybody. I've been saying this for months. We've said it with each lawsuit that came out, and today that was proven true. The media got it.
All right, yo, we glitching. We'll be back, all right? We glitching right now. We'll be back. Thank you.